What's up, my friends? Jonny May here, and welcome to this week's quick tip where I'm going to teach you this beautiful jazz ballad arrangement of I'll Be Home for Christmas. This is one of my favorite Christmas tunes, and in this lesson we're going to start with the basic chords and melody, and then I'm going to teach you 3 essential jazz techniques. This is a way that you can take the chords and make them sound so much more beautiful, and then we're going to put the full arrangement together. And before we start the lesson, I do want to mention that right now we are offering the biggest special that we offer all year long over at pianowithjonny.com, up to 50% off the Piano with Jonny membership in celebration of the holidays, and we're closing this special this Monday. So if you've ever considered becoming a Piano with Jonny member, now is the best time to sign up. So I'll put a link to that below, and let's go ahead and start the lesson. All right, we're going to start with the basic lead sheet. I'll walk you through the melody, the basic chords, and then I'll show you these 3 jazz techniques and how to apply them to this tune. All right, you ready for this? I'll Be Home for Christmas. It's a gorgeous melody. We're playing it in B flat. Ah, so pretty. So first chord, you might see like a B flat major, right? Melody in the right hand. C sharp diminished is typically the second chord in this tune. Then we go to like a C minor. Okay, so far, not too complicated. Again, we're gonna make these chords sound a lot more interesting in just a minute. Then we have You Can, B flat major, kind of like a G chord, and then maybe to like a C minor, okay? Again, these are just the standard chords that you might see in a songbook. Then we have E flat, like an F major. And then we have B flat, maybe to like a G minor, and then like a C chord, right? And then maybe to an F chord, all right? And so this is like a first ending. You'd go back to the beginning, you'd repeat it, right? And then from here, you'd usually take like a little second ending, which might go like this, like E flat major, E flat minor, to a D minor, okay, and then like a G chord, and then a C chord, and then maybe like an F sus, resolving to an F, and then back to B flat. So that's kind of the standard version of this tune, but you might be thinking, okay, Jonny, but I want to make the chords sound really beautiful, and I want to add those lovely passing chords. Well, that's what we're going to talk about next, but before we do this, if you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this. All right, you ready to jazz it up? This is the fun part. I want to teach you 3 jazz techniques. These are techniques that you can use for pretty much any jazz ballad to make it sound more beautiful and make your chords sound more interesting. And the first technique is called the diatonic 7th chord technique. It's actually a very simple idea, and this is where I would start if you want to play jazz ballads or take Christmas tunes and make them sound more interesting. If you're in the key like B flat, right? We're in the key of B flat major. What you want to do is learn all of your 7th chords in the key of B flat. And the way you do this is you take your first chord like a B flat major, bring it down here, and we'll stack one more third on top of the F. This comes from the B flat major scale. Okay, that's a B flat major scale. And we're just stacking thirds from the bottom, and we get this beautiful chord called a B flat major 7 chord. Okay, these are jazz chords. This is the beginning of jazz chords, or at least the foundation, and then we can add to this, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to do this on the second note of the B flat major scale. So we stack thirds, and you end up with a C minor 7 chord. Again, we're just skipping every other note from the B flat major scale to build each of these chords, okay? So we have C minor 7. If you do it on the D, skip every other note from the scale. Then you have a D minor 7, right? E flat major 7. And so practice all of these. This is called F dominant 7. This is called G minor 7. And this is called A half diminished 7. You really need to know these 7th chords to understand jazz, because all the chords we're going to play later come from these diatonic 7th chords. So practice these, get really good at them, because once you can play these, you're going to start to see and understand these jazz chords that we're going to play next. So that's the first concept. The second concept is our chord extensions concept. And once you understand diatonic 7th chords, then you get to the point where you're thinking, okay, what notes can I add to these chords to make them beautiful? And so these are called chord extensions, and they're basically 3 chord extensions that you typically add to a chord. So let's say you have like a B flat major 7 chord. The 3 notes that you can add to this are the C, the E flat, and the G. we call these the 9 and the 11 and the 13. And that's because they're actually a 9th interval from the root, 11th interval, and a 13th interval from the root, okay? But a little trick to remembering these is that they're simply the 2nd note, the 4th note, and the 6th note of the major scale. Okay, so B flat major scale, the trick to remembering the extra notes, the little money notes, are the 2nd, 4th, 6th, or 9, 11, 13, okay? You with me so far? The third thing you really need to know to play this arrangement in a more jazzy style is the concept of a chord alteration. And that is when you're on a chord like a dominant chord, like an F7 chord, you can add some really cool notes to this chord, this F7. There are 4 notes you can add. You can add the G flat, you can add the G sharp, you can add the B natural, and you can add the D flat, okay? These notes are called the flat 9, the sharp 9, the sharp 11, and the flat 13, okay? And they're basically modifications of our chord extensions. So our 9 flatted, our 9 sharped, our 11 sharped, and our 13 flatted, okay? And you can play some really cool notes if you add these chord extensions and chord alterations to your dominant chords. All right, we made it through the theory, so now you're ready to start applying these ideas to the arrangement. But before we do this, if you want to do a deep dive on chord extensions and chord alterations and diatonic 7th chords, we have some really great courses on these topics where you not only learn the concepts, but you learn some great exercises to master them. And then we really walk you through how to use these concepts in a jazz arrangement like a lead sheet. So I'll put a link to those courses below. All right, you ready for the exciting part? We're going to take all of these concepts and we're going to apply them to I'll Be Home for Christmas. I'm so excited to teach this to you, and what I want to do is I want to go sort of measure by measure, show you the notes, kind of explain what I'm doing so you really understand how we're arranging this tune, and then at the end we'll kind of put it together, we'll bring it to the full tempo, and we'll even play this with an included backing track with some bass and drums. It sounds gorgeous, so stay tuned for the end. All right, let's go measure by measure. First measure, absolutely gorgeous. Here's how it sounds. Let's just look at those couple measures there because there's a lot going on harmonically. Okay, so first measure we have, ooh, what chord is this? Does not look like the B flat chord at the beginning. It's because we're adding some beautiful chord extensions. We're adding the C and the G to our B flat major chord. These notes are called the 6th and the 9, or the 13 and the 9, you can think of it that way, but we're adding them to our chord and then we're sort of spreading the chord out. We do this in jazz to make chords sound really beautiful, okay? So that's the first chord. And I also like to go outer, inner, inner, you see that? And then be home. This is a simple C sharp diminished chord. I'm kind of spreading out the chord, so not doing much here, but then check this out. Gorgeous. Check this out. C minor 11. Okay, this is a C minor 7 chord. We're adding the 11 to it. That's a chord extension. So we have, okay, a little harmony there. And then check this out. This is called an F7, okay? But we're adding some beautiful notes to it. We have the 13 in there. I got the 9 in there, but I'm doing one other thing to this chord. I'm suspending it, okay? So it's like an F7 suspended. I'm sort of creating a sus sound, and then I'm resolving it to an F7 flat 9, okay? This is an F7 chord, and I've got a flat 9, which is the chord alteration, all right? So that's the first couple measures. Let's keep going. Okay, some really rich chords going on here. So I'm starting on my B flat major chord, little slip note up to the 3rd. So we have, that's my B flat 6-9 chord that I taught you earlier, but I'm kind of spreading the notes out. And then this is the money chord right here. Check this one out. So jazzy, okay? Basically, this is a G7 chord that I taught you earlier, but I'm adding a chord extension, the 13, and an A flat or G sharp, which we call the flat 9. okay? It actually makes a little E major triad on top of the chord shell for the G7, okay? So it's a G13 with a flat 9. I like to slide the E there, and then resolve this to like a G7 with a flat 13, okay? Next measure. Really nice chords here. This is a C minor chord. I'm coming up to the 9 here to kind of color it, and then I have, it's really nice. This is like an F9 chord, so it's like an F7. We're adding a 9, a chord extension, and I'm also suspending it up to the sus4. So that's kind of the concept here. Bringing the notes down here, and then I'm resolving it to an F7 with a flat 9. Okay, there's that flat 9, really beautiful note you can play on your dominant chords. All right, let's go to the next couple measures. Really beautiful stuff here. Oh, love these chords. Really, really beautiful harmonies. You can do this with jazz. You can add lots of nice little passing chords. First couple chords. Ooh, what's going on here? It's like a C minor, but I'm doing a little chromatic walk down. See this? C minor 9, but there's a B flat in the bottom. This is called a drop 2 voicing. It's like a C minor 9 where I've got the B flat in there, but I'm taking that second voice from the top and I'm dropping it down to the bottom. It's a really beautiful chord. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing this little walk down. There's that drop 2, and then here's my F9 sus4, same chord we played earlier, and I'm going to resolve it to my F9, and then this is a gorgeous part. Probably one of my favorite measures in the tune. Oh, such rich chords. First chord is a B flat major 7, kind of spread out. Ooh, love this chord. This is called an F add 2 or F sus2 over an A. Okay, it's a gorgeous chord that you can play on a walk down from the 1 chord. So we have B flat major 7, F add 2 over A, and then a gorgeous G minor 11 chord. Okay, we've got a root 7 on the bottom, some chord tones on the top, but a nice little money note there on the C, which we call the 11. So we have, okay, this little chord I just grabbed here on the G minor 11, this is called a G minor 9, okay? A, B flat, and D, right? Next measure. Really nice chords here. So first one, C9 sus4. Remember we talked about this chord. It's like a C9 with a sus4, and I'm just spreading the notes out. So we have, oh, lovely chord here. This is our C7. Got some really nice notes. We're adding a D, F sharp, and an A, which is an extension, and an alteration. Okay, and I'm also sliding the D there to make it kind of bluesy. So we have, okay, next measure. For this one, I'm basically coming up an F13 sus4. Again, it's kind of like an F7. We're adding a 9 and a 13 to the chord and suspending it. So it's an F13 sus4. And then I'm just playing the chords kind of lower, okay? It kind of looks like a C minor 9 in the right hand, okay? So we have 1, 2, and then 3, all the same notes, same chord, but then this chord comes out of nowhere. This is that F7, sharp 9, flat 13. It's basically a D flat major triad on the top. And there's a name for this. It's called an upper structure triad. There's several that you can use on dominant chords. In fact, I'll put a link below to our course where you can learn the various upper structures that you can use. Okay? Now, this is the first basically 8 measures of the tune. You're halfway through. And from here, it's going to get a lot easier because we're going to reuse a lot of the same chords. Okay? So here are the next few measures. What we're doing is we're playing that B flat 6-9 chord, but we're spreading it out a lot. Okay, so this is just a simple B flat major, my 9, my 5, and my 1. My C sharp diminished. Okay, just a simple chord. And then here's my C minor 11 or C minor 7. There's actually no third in this chord. You could put it in there if you wanted. Or or you could put it down here, but sometimes it's nice to just leave the third out of the chord, create a little more open sounding chord. Okay, and then, love this one, F9 sus4, again, an F9 sus4 is that. We also have the 13 on the top, okay, so we have, and I'm also sliding the G there, make it a little bluesy, okay? Resolve to an F7 flat 9, you see that? And then, check these chords out. D minor 7 flat 5, it's a half diminished chord. You can do this on the 3 chord oftentimes in a jazz ballad like this. Okay, so we have, check these chords out. This is that G7. We've got a 13 and a flat 9. It's an E major triad on the top, so it's like an upper structure. Okay, so we have, and then another upper structure, an E flat major upper structure on the top. This is the sharp 9 and the flat 13. Okay, so we have, and then finally to a C minor. This is a very simple C minor, okay? C minor in the right hand, left hand, I go up to the 9, 3, and then 5, okay? You're doing a great job. We're gonna play the last 4 measures, and then we're gonna put the whole thing together, okay? Here it is. Love these chords. So E flat major is the first one. I'm basically like doing a little slip note again from the F to the G, okay? Left hand's just kind of spreading out on a normal E flat major triad. Okay, and then we have, it's an E flat minor 6. Okay, really nice chord you can use on the 4 chord to make it minor. And then this is a beauty right here. What the heck is this chord? This is a B flat major 7 over D. Okay, B flat major 7, except I have the D in the bottom. I am putting the 9 in there as well in my left hand, okay? And then we have, okay, what's going on here? This is a G7 sus 4, G9 sus 4. I use this chord a lot, okay? That's the chord, and I'm kind of spreading it out here, and then we resolve it to a very jazzy G13 chord. It's basically a G7, and we're adding the 9 and the 13, which are the chord extensions. Okay, final few measures. Really nice. So starting on that C chord, remember earlier we had just the normal C major? Well, we're gonna make this a C9 sus 4. So we have, okay, C9 sus 4, there's the chord. We're spreading out the notes, resolving it to a C7 chord, but we're adding the sharp 11, and we've got the melody note, which is the 9. Okay, so, see this? Next measure. Okay, this is our F7 sus 4. We've got the 13 in there, so technically it's an F13 sus 4. And then we resolve this to an F7 with a flat 9. Okay, notice I use this a lot where on a dominant chord I make it suspended and then I resolve it to the 3rd, and I usually combine this with the 9 going to the flat 9. Okay, jazz musicians do this all the time. Okay, final measure. Ooh, check out this B flat chord. I've got the 9, the 5, the root. My B flat major 7, little chord cluster. Just playing a little melody in the right hand to fill. And then we have, this is like a little 2-5 chord progression, like a C minor 9 to an F7 with a flat 9, and this leads you very nicely back to the beginning of the tune, which is on a B flat major chord. All right, in just a minute, we're gonna play with the included backing track, but before we do this, if you're enjoying this lesson and you wanna learn how to take other Christmas tunes and develop them into the jazz ballad style, we have a great course on this for Hark, the Herald, Angels Sing. We start with the lead sheet and I walk you through the entire process of transforming it into a jazz ballad. We talk about lots of harmonic techniques, how to fill, how to add beautiful passing chords, so I'll put a link to that below. All right, let's go ahead and play I'll Be Home for Christmas with the included backing track. And by the way, you can download this backing track as well as 2 more backing tracks at different tempos. I'll put a link to those below, and let's go ahead and play it with the track. 2, Here we go. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, please let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.